Today in Confetti's Corner, we're going to look at quick graphs of linear equations. So we've been talking about linear equations a lot in this chapter. So let's see what we have today. So when we're looking at slope and y-intercept form, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the graph. So here's my line, right? My linear equation. And when I'm looking for points on the graph, if I were to substitute a 0 in for x, that would give me 3. So that would be a point on the graph. Same thing if I were to substitute a 1 in there for my x value. I have 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 3 gives me 5. Okay, so my slope of the line is, remember, y is equal to mx plus b. So my slope is that first value there in front of my x, so my slope is 2. My y-intercept is that b value, so that's going to be 3. Okay, and let's take a look. Same thing, if I substitute a 0 in for my x value, I'm going to get a negative 4. And when I substitute a 1, I'm going to get 1/2 times 1 here minus 3, which is going to give me negative 3.5. Okay, so now I have 1/2 times x minus 4, so my slope there is going to be 1/2. And my y-intercept is right here at negative 4. Okay, let's keep going. So again, here's my slope-intercept form. My m is my slope. My y-intercept is b. So let's see what we have here. And we're also going to look at standard form, which is ax plus by is equal to c. When we're looking at standard form, my a value is usually positive, and I have no fractions and no decimals. So let's see what we have. Okay, so first we're going to do this in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to bring that 2x to the other side. And I have 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 12. Divide everything by 3. And I have y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 4. So when I graph this line, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be my y-intercept. Now my slope is going to be negative 2/3. We've talked about this before. If it's negative, I'm going to go down. And if my denominator is positive, I'm going to go to the right. So I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, 3, down 2, 1, 2, 3. And that is going to be the points on my line. Okay, so let's draw my line. And then I'm going to put arrows on the end. So there's my line. And I'll draw my arrows on the end because a line is continuous. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. We're going to do the same thing. Notice we're starting with the same equation, but this time we're going to do x and y intercepts. So what that means, the first one, when I make x equal to 0, that is going to give me my y-intercept. So I'm going to take 2 times 0, which is going to be 0, and then I have 3y is equal to 12, so y is equal to 4. So when x is 0, y is 4. That's going to be my y-intercept. I'm going to do the same thing when y is equal to 0. I have 2x, and that's going to be plus 3 times 0. So I have 2x is equal to 12, so x is equal to 6. So when x is 6, y is 0. So I'm going to go here. And again, I'm going to grab my line tool, and I'm going to graph my line. And again, I'm going to put arrows on the end. Okay, so if you notice, my lines are exactly the same because the equations were exactly the same. So they're just two different methods that you can use when graphing a line, or especially using word problems. You just decide what works best. All right, let's look at graphing horizontal and vertical lines, okay? So when we talk about Vuxhoy, the V stands for a vertical line. We have an undefined slope. And that means that x is equal to whatever the number is. That's the equation of the line. Looking at our Hoy, the H stands for horizontal line. It's a horizontal line. We have a 0 slope. And my equation of the line is going to be y is equal to whatever number it is. Okay? So let's look at our graph. So I have y is equal to 3. That's a Hoy. So remember that H is a horizontal line. So I'm going to go right at y is equal to 3 here. I'm going to draw a line all the way through. Now I know it's a line and not a point, because it has an equal sign, right? If I have something like if I have a coordinate, that's a point. This right here is a line. Okay, we'll do the same thing with x is equal to -2. This is a Vux, so I know it's a vertical line. So I'm going to go wherever x is equal to -2, and then I'm going to draw my line there. And there is my line of x is equal to -2. All right, let's take a look at a word problem. It says you are buying a computer for $1,100 on Layaway. You make a $250 deposit. So we know right away if we take that $1,100 and subtract the $250, we only owe $850 at that point. And then we're going to make weekly payments according to this equation. So again, we owe $850. It looks like our slope or our rate of change is we're going to pay $50 per week to get where we need to go and hopefully quickly get rid of that amount that you owe for the computer. A is the amount that you owe. So we're hoping to get that to 0. And then T is the number of weeks it's going to take us to get there. Okay, so again, here's our given equation. I rewrote that in slope-intercept form. So in this particular word problem, we could use slope-intercept form or x and y intercepts. Either one would be okay. I'm going to do it in slope-intercept form. So I know that my y-intercept is going to start at 850. Now, it's a little tricky because the values are so high, so I just have to be careful. So I'm going to start there. 850. Again, my t or my x values is going to be the number of weeks that it's going to take me, and then the amount O is going to be on my y-axis. Okay, so now remember my slope is -50 over 1, so I'm going to go down 50 to the right 1. So I'm going to go down each tick mark here is worth 100, so I'm going to go down 50, and then I'm going to go over 1. Again, I can see down here that I'm going to have to be kind of in between to do 1 unit at a time. So I'm going to go down 50 over 1. And then from there, I am going to draw my line. Okay, so I'm going to grab my graphing tool, and then I'm going to draw my line and be as careful as I can. And I'm all set. All right, let's take a look at our last example. The school band is selling sweatshirts and t-shirts to raise money. The goal is to raise $1,200. Sweatshirts sell for a profit of $2.50 each, and t-shirts for $1.50. Describe the number of sweatshirts and t-shirts the band can sell to reach the goal. Okay, so here we go. We have in slope-intercept form. Well, first we'll start with standard form. $2.50 profit for each sweatshirt. I made that my x-axis. And then my y-axis is going to be the number of t-shirts. Now remember, they're trying to get that $1,200 goal. Okay. If I put that in slope-intercept form right there, it does make it a little tricky because that -1.7, not an easy slope to deal with in this case. So what I did was I did my x-intercept, and I let y equal 0, and I end up with the 0.48, 480 and 0. I'll slide that 0 in there, 480 and 0. And then I did the same thing with my y-intercept. I made x equals 0, and y is going to be at 800. So again, if I sell 800 t-shirts and no sweatshirts, I'll reach that $1,200 goal. If I sell 480 sweatshirts and no t-shirts, I will also meet that goal. Now, when I make my line, my segment here, anything along that line is also going to get me to that $1,200 goal. Okay? Thanks so much for stopping by today. You have a great day.